Hi Sagittarius, it's so good to see you. Thank you so much for tuning in. My name is Chandler. This is your intuitive energy reading for the 1111 Energy Gateway portal and some astrology to assist you for the next week. This is not a dated reading. However, if you're looking into it now, we are still very much in the 1111 portal. The 1111 portal does not just last one day. It actually lasts, in my opinion, toward the eclipse in December and even the new year. So you have a long time to be working on these things that we're going to be discussing today. We're going to be looking at the astrology, and we're going to be looking at the different things that may be coming up during Scorpio season. So, of course, with an 1111 kind of numerological day, it oftentimes represents manifestations, greater awakenings, or illumination. Okay, a lot of spiritual power behind this gateway that we're in from now until the end of December. So, what's specific about this day and the 1111 number specifically is that we have Mercury conjunct the Sun. Mercury is retrograde in Scorpio. When Mercury is conjunct the Sun, they call it actually cazimi, and that's at 18 degrees. So 18 reduces to the number 9, and it's all about endings. But it's more specific than that. It's actually about alchemical transformations on emotional levels that have been stagnant or stuck. Something that has been unclear or unclean is really being purified by the power of the sun, purified by fire. You're being asked to take authority over your own life, okay? You're being given direct and clear truths. A lot of things about your own actions are being illuminated to help you progress emotionally. Some things that we'd rather not look at and just sort of hide away from are being revealed right now. And so this can be very clarifying as to our own beliefs, our own thoughts. And though no action may be taking place this week, your internal world, because of these subtle shifts, may actually shift substantially. We have Mercury transiting the Sun as well, and so this happened yesterday, and it's a very rare astrological event. You may not be able to see this with your own eyes, but if you have the right telescope, you can literally see little tiny Mercury passing by the Sun's rays. So, through this energy, we're no longer able to point the finger at others or even ourselves, claiming that things are black and white, we're in the right and they're in the wrong, that's good or that's bad, this is light and this is dark. With the sun's power, we're actually getting a much broader perspective, and we're able to view the entirety of our situation and the fullness of the experience. And by doing that, we're able to see how embracing these spooky, hidden, creepy, crawly agendas and the darkness associated with Scorpio season and the things that we've wanted to deny or just simply ignore within this situation. And by doing that, we can actually transform it. So essentially, this power of the sun is helping liberate us from situations where we may have been convinced that we were going to be a victim, we were going to be oppressed, we were going to be subdued by our circumstances, when in fact, given a different perspective, we may actually find a way to take our power back. We may actually find a way how to liberate ourselves from that victim mentality. So it can be really helpful. It can be really helpful, and it can provide us some different avenues. It can provide us some different thought patterns. It can make us feel differently about situations that we really couldn't wrap our head around before. So today, 11/12, we have the full moon in Taurus. Taurus represents quality over quantity. The things that we love, what we cherish, what we value, what we're devoted to, what gives us function and purpose, where our energy can go that is then reciprocated, and what produces a wise investment. And where your value lies also translates directly to your finances. If you want to know how to manage money, ask a Taurus. But because we're in Scorpio season, the opposite sign of Taurus, this can get a little messy. Because as Scorpio views money, Scorpio understands other people's money. Taurus learns to understand the value as it applies to the self. So two opposite perspectives really playing a tug of war over your finances and where your personal value lies. And you're going to have to set standards for where your needs will be met. This may be bringing up personal issues regarding personal finances, issues around laziness, overindulgence, obsessions, or materialism. But this full moon represents completions, and it's also trining Saturn and Pluto sextile Neptune. So as a bulk, this period is a period of settling and integrating what you've recently unearthed, either subconsciously or psychically within your own psychology. This could relate to traumas of your childhood, of things that you've been otherwise burdened by. There could be a lot of self-sabotaging habits as well that are plainly viewed or very clear at this time. So as it's aspecting Pluto and Saturn, it's actually wanting you to view these issues and produce lasting progress and appropriate building techniques. Of course, Taurus and Scorpio are very fixed and rigid signs sometimes. Very stubborn ideas may be coming up about what it is you actually value. What you want and what you deserve may be on opposite ends of the spectrum. But you're being forced, Sag, to look at what you have been prioritizing and really question your judgment about those things. This has an emotional context as we are deeply looking at ourselves. Mercury retrograde and the 1111 portal issues are being further clarified as Mercury retrograde is forcing us to make low vibrational issues our priority right now. It may not have been a priority for you to really look at these things going on in your life that are a mess, or that the things that you don't like to look at, or the habitual patterns or the traumas of the past. But through this channeled energy, you begin to really objectively see how those things that are being neglected actually do play a significant role in your overall well-being. So you need to ask yourself, Sag, how bad does the situation need to get before you gain this clarity? How low do you have to sink before you choose to swim? And like a snake shedding its skin, sometimes it's an uncomfortable process. But if it has your awareness, you have the power to change it. And this process is important for your overall success. Now is the time to really take a deep look at those hidden truths, the things that we may not have wanted to admit to others or ourselves, that are very important to the development of our psyche. So Taurus is about beauty as well, and it's being illuminated with the power of Mercury and the Sun in Scorpio. So yeah, it may be bringing up some of the spooky, creepy, crawly things that we really don't want to look at and maybe aren't so beautiful about ourselves and about our shadow. The discomfort of this process is important. This process itself is important because it's actually the process of becoming more high vibrational. It's contradictory, just as Scorpio season would have it. It is not as it seems. If things are uncomfortable, then you're probably doing really good this season. If things are really terrible and you don't feel so good about the things that are coming up, well, then that's really some heavy-duty work you're doing. And that's going to bring you to a higher vibrational place eventually. So when you finish this process, then the physical reality of the Taurus full moon energy of material possessions, beauty, earthly comforts, visceral sensations, health and wellness on a mental and physical plane, as also the Venusian luxury, have a chance to shift and catch up. So this is a great time to manifest those things. Tough love is sometimes necessary too. So if you've been feeling a little bit of those shadowy aspects of laziness, lethargy, overindulgence, even obsession or materialism, these self-sabotaging behaviors can truly be eradicated by just a little bit of discipline and organization. Show yourself love by showing up to your responsibilities right now. Enlightenment can also be obtained, though, through comfort in Taurus energy. The scorpionic, lustrous, obsessive, gratifying, visceral desires, and even the taboo of what feels good but can actually be wrong are going to be put into context. It's a great time to detox. It's a great time to give up addictions. It's a great time to remove yourself from any kind of toxicity, from social environments or from your body. Because this comfort that Taurus wishes to bring is sustainable. And what brings comfort to the soul may actually be something much more humble or simple than you had originally thought. I guess it depends on how detrimental these other things may be to your well-being, right? With fixed Taurus lunar energy, all you have to ask yourself is, what can you do to get out of your own way? And it can be that simple. Venus squaring Neptune will draw focus upon what is possible and what may not actually be very real. There's definitely an illusion energy surrounding love and relationships, and we're really being asked to take those rose-colored glasses off after a while. Yeah, sure, it's fun, maybe you kind of overlooked something because you really liked someone, and that honeymoon phase passes, and you start seeing like, wow, this person's kind of batshit crazy, right? It's those energies that we're really being confronted by, and it's not so much about the other person's characteristics, but it's about our own judgment at the end of the day. And so the advice here is to not let the impossible dreams distract you from what really is true and beautiful in life. So that is the astrology. Of course, that's just for this week. I'm going to cover some more astrology, you guys, so let me know if you liked that in the future. We're going to, go into December soon, and December has a lot of really good astrology before the new year, and so I'm excited to cover that as well. But that's just a little snippet, actually, of what you can expect from this portal, this gateway, and also from the full moon for the next 2 weeks. Now, the full moon's energy, I would say, lasts 2 to 3 weeks, but then the portal itself is a very specific time that may last up until the end of December. So you decide how long your process needs to be. Okay, it can be really simple and humble and sweet, or it can be drug out and stubborn and rigid. So you get to decide that for yourself. Sag, we are going to go into the tarot. I feel like, the hardest part of your year and of this transitional energy into the new year and new decade is a part of that reflectivity associated with your self-sabotage. I feel like there's been a running theme of self-sabotage this year, and it's actually created a lot more burden or unnecessary circumstances, either because you weren't listening to your intuition or just because you've been very reactionary this year, very triggered. Needless to say, I feel like you're really needing to focus upon that, because that is highlighting a lot of the issues that may have been avoided. Okay? But in avoiding the issue, you actually cause more of the problems. This is where Scorpio season really takes us for a loophole, right? We think, Avoiding the issues is causing more of the problems. I think that that's just really clear. So let's get to the heart of the issue. Let's see what Scorpio is healing, transforming, and what they're manifesting. That one really wants to come out. Oh, of course, Wheel of Fortune. Sag, this is your energy of the major arcana. This is Jupiter. Okay, Jupiter, and it's a number 10. This is a very strong cycle that keeps repeating, it seems like, and that may be how you're feeling about your energy currently. Okay, when we have Wheel of Fortune, you know, things are always subject to change. Sag, things are always changing. Nothing is ever the same. You can't ever rely on one thing being constant forever. And so with this Wheel of Fortune energy, I feel like you may have felt like, wow, one of the luckiest years in 12 wasn't so lucky after all for me. It really didn't feel so lucky. That could be how you're feeling, of course, but then in, you know, retrospect is always 2020. And so you never know how this energy has actually changed your life in the future. You may be looking at a circumstance that was taken from you or that didn't work out, but this is actually a grander, overarching lesson for you to be more flexible with change, for you to not expect certain things to turn out exactly how, for you to, you know, kind of roll with the punches or maybe not be so reactionary depending on your circumstances. This is a really big lesson, as Jupiter represents big ideas, big lessons, or broader pictures. And, you know, it comes with a dose of teaching, philosophy, what you think, or your belief systems, but it never leaves you without something. It never leaves you without a gift of some kind. And so though your luck may be on, you know, topsy-turvy right now, though it may be kind of going in the opposite direction as you had thought, this is actually going to release you maybe of a more tumultuous cycle that really wasn't serving you or producing abundance. So, you know, you kind of do have to look at it in a way of this Two of Wands. When one door closes, another opens kind of energy. You are closing a major life pattern, a major life cycle, something that I think was ultimately really self-sabotaging in love. Look at that. We have the Six of Cups in reverse as well as the Ace of Wands. I feel rejection from this. I feel rejection and I feel strong animosity. So if you're closing out a cycle with a person who you've been previously in a relationship with, maybe this relationship was childlike, maybe it was sort of underdeveloped. I'm getting this energy kind of like, you know, there were maybe red flags. You know, there was maybe ideas in your head that weren't so grounded or rooted in reality. This does lack commitment. This does lack true reciprocity. And there's very childlike, underdeveloped energy here. So I do feel that whatever is ending is truly necessary for you to have a greater, grander start in the kind of passion or romance that you're actually looking for, that you actually need, maybe to match your own. Whatever this rejection has been for you, this may actually be something way in the past. This could be childhood sort of energy of abandonment, a codependency, ignorance, or, you know, just avoidance of deeper issues because maybe you're afraid to really get in touch with how you feel or what you deserve. There's something here of a disconnect within you or with what you believe. And this is surfacing in the material or physical world to show you maybe how you can see those signs and interpret those energies way before you get to those points where it actually hurts. There's something about your intuition. There is something about your intuition that you're going to be learning much more in depth in 2020. You have an intuition, you have a foresight, you can see things way before they happen if you are in tune with yourself. But given these energies, these are distractions. These are things that are meant to take you away from that energy of being in tune. These are meant to divert your personal progress. and sacrifice and be, sort of the savior complex potentially of other people. Sacrificing what it is you need is a huge theme right now. It's okay to admit, what do I need? What do I need here so that I don't get put in this lose-lose situation anymore? Someone also may be coming back. This could just be to make amends or to talk. You could have, this is Lazarus season, so you could have people coming back up. I mean, this wheel's like, where does it begin? Where does it end? Kind of energy. Does this person bring you gifts, or do they take more than they give? You may be feeling like this situation is really unfair, but these are the emotions that you are being guided to really address and look at, because is it really unfair at the end of the day, or did you put yourself in a circumstance that was ultimately avoidable? There's something here about temptations as well that you really have to be very careful of in the future. Temptations to look a certain way, temptations, for people to view you a certain way or view your situation a certain way. Not all is, what's that saying? It's not always greener on the other side, or from the windows looking in kind of energy. You're being asked to look within first this time or next time. Look within first, and then everything exterior can align. You kind of had it backwards, I see. You may have moved. You may have actually traveled away from this person. You may have had to leave a dynamic in a home or family situation that wasn't healthy for you. There's so much coming up here from these two cards. It's a big thing for some of you guys. It's been a big year, and it's revealing an overarching theme of maybe even your lifetime. Going back into childhood to heal some of these issues that replay in your relationships and may not actually have to do with this specific person. But it's the core issue that keeps recycling itself, repeating itself, and revealing itself in these people. You may ask yourself, why can't I find a person that matches my level of passion or integrity or enthusiasm and joy? It's, all of those positive qualities in you are almost being dimmed down because of this cycle. It seems that you feel maybe your more negative aspects were highlighted in this previous relationship. And that just goes to show you how vibrationally misaligned you have been. So we have the Page of Swords and the Empress. I think you realize through what you've seen and maybe this energy of rejection becoming clarified that there's really not a potential to grow here. We have the Empress in reverse, which is the Libra and Tauran energy. We have Page of Swords, which is Libra. We have the Six of Cups, which is Scorpionic energy. And then we have your major arcana, Jupiterian, Sagittarian energy. So in order to usher in these new manifestations of really positive, healthy relationships, as well as major abundance and some serious luck, you've got to figure out what details we're missing. Okay, because the Page of Swords is childlike. It's very immature. It's about shortcomings. It's about immature communication. It's about, very back and forth kind of mind games is what I'm kind of getting. And that's just going to produce a lot of weeds in your garden, and it's going to keep you from your Ten of Cups. Yeah. And it's hard because this energy is about holding on. There's something about, having those red flags and not really paying attention to them. Maybe, you know, from the beginning, this person was like kind of fun, and like maybe you gave them a chance, and like it was all great until like something serious came in, and then, you know, everybody just, or you just, you know, this energy around you guys is just so unsustainable, or, you know, you can't handle it, or it's like, you know, there's a feeling here of real like shakiness and insecurity. But the Page of Swords is all about the facts. It's like, what did I miss? What did I just overlook? You know, what did I just overlook here? You know, this may only resonate with a few of you guys. I'm trying to keep it very general or broad, but I'm getting a lot of messages from these cards. And I also see that there's really still no positive communication going on. We have the King of Wands. So listen, Sag, I actually think that this is you. Because we have the Star on the bottom of the deck. And this is about, you know, you following your destiny, or at least seeing a direction to go in. When this is clear, when you really, you know, kind of admit to yourself or have all the facts aligned with your mistakes, maybe you're looking at your past quite a bit this season and this week, and you're really sort of taking ownership. You know, you're taking ownership, and you're taking responsibility for the shadowy aspects, the things that you really didn't want to look at, but may have caused you a lot more grief or, you know, drama than really necessary. The King of Wands is asserting themselves in a very healthy way. Their ego is in check. They're no tyrant. They're definitely not a control freak, but they're not severely insecure. They've got a very healthy dynamic of what is appropriate. They're reprioritizing. They've reprioritized, and they're looking toward the future at as to how to create something much more sustainable, how to produce, you know, a grander idea, how to, you know, how to express themselves in a more healthy way. The Star is all about self-expression and healing, but it has everything to do with the intellect and emotions. So when we're looking at this person, they're trying to view and approach situations very differently than they once were. And it is to produce healing. It is to produce enlightenment. It is to produce spiritual liberation. Okay, they don't want to feel under the confines or restrictions of the relationships that they've been previously entertaining. You know, it's almost like there was an element of not wanting to be emotionally available, which I think you realize really wasn't serving you. And, you know, this king, if this is a person who you're involved with, is coming back as a King of Wands, which is also, you know, like, they're very about themselves, okay? So it's still not, I think, the relationship that you kind of feel like you're going toward. This may be the person from the past. It doesn't mean they're a bad person. It just kind of means that they are who they are, and they're doing what they're doing. But is it still what you feel you want? You have a grander idea of what you want, and I feel like you're really considering this person, because I do feel a lot of animosity toward whatever rejection this was in the past. That you know, it's an interesting dynamic, because you have a chance here with the Wheel of Fortune to just repeat the cycle in love. And that's totally up to you. It depends on how severe your consequences are, right? Like, how bad does a situation need to get before you learn? You know, how are you establishing healthy boundaries? You know, is this return going to inflate those social dynamics of what people view or what people think, rather than how you really feel, over what really is the truth in the dynamic, over really how healthy the situation is? You know, so there's deeper questions I think that you have to consider with this hangman and the star, because the universe is trying to align you with what you want, and that's absolutely a possibility. You could get exactly what you want, but the hangman doesn't come without sacrifice. The hangman doesn't come without healthy boundaries. The hangman doesn't come without solitude, isolation, and deep contemplation. Only then can you emerge vulnerable, ready for love, having that ecstasy or having that bliss that's associated with not only passion and romance, but love and compassion and reciprocity. So you are being guided, Sagittarius, but it's a bit of a mirroring effect that you have to do with yourself and your future self. What am I doing today that's going to hinder me from actually getting to where my future self is? Maybe that's even a good tactic for you to look into your future. You know, if you could picture your ideal self, if you could picture the ultimate self, how they feel, what they do, who they're around, what they have, you know, is it a lot of money? Is it a great business? And, you know, a really supportive and compassionate lover? Like, how do you see yourself in the next 2 years? I think 2 years is going to be very specific for you guys. 2 to 3 years, depending on how hard you make this cycle for yourself. But in 2 years' time, you could actually have that version of self. But in that version of self, you also will see the qualities that aren't what you have now, that are very clear, the habits that you may have that keep you stuck from becoming that person. I know this energy is so very you, so I think that a lot of you guys will understand, but this is the Wheel of Fortune energy. This is that big picture stuff. This is that, oh my God, I don't want to be stuck here repeating the same cycle with this same person anymore. I really want to be liberated from this self-sabotaging, very habitual cycle, you know, where I seem to get the raw end of the deal every time. You're freaking Sagittarius. You don't have to live that way. You can live your life in joy and happiness and expansive energy and traveling and, you know, having a lot of family and friends around you who really know you, who really get to know that you know, beautiful, passionate Sagittarius. But, you know, unfortunately, I feel like in relationships, Sag, and especially this year, you found a lot of suppression. You found a lot of oppression. You found a lot of distractions in your relationships that have highlighted an overall arching kind of theme that may not actually be about this specific person, but more about, you know, you as an individual or your upbringing, the things that have been at your core for a long time that may or may not be serving you. And so try to lessen your approach toward one individual. Try to soften your reactions toward one person and try to view them more as this grander lesson and maybe just these characters in the play of Sagittarius. Because that's the bigger picture that you're being asked to take in 2020. That's the bigger picture you have to take in 2020. If you want to get to that ultimate version of self, you have to look at the self you are now and maybe appropriate some of those habits that can get you where you want to go instead of where you've already been. Don't repeat this cycle. Don't repeat this cycle. You know what you deserve and you know what you want, or you're coming much more in tune and alignment with that. And all you have to do is follow that. You know, all you have to do is back yourself up. All you have to do is start moving in that direction. And that may be the hardest part because there's going to be emotions that come up. You're not going to have a clear path at first. You're going to ask yourself if you did the right thing. Your judgment is going to be critical potentially at first. But again, to lessen all of those aspects and those sort of side effects of this larger judgment call, you have to think big. You've got to think big right now. And so I wish you luck, Sag. I think that you're going to be very direct, very clear. You're going to speak your truth. You're going to put up healthy boundaries, maybe even assert your independence. You are definitely feeling much more entrepreneurial and authoritative in this next month. And I do feel like there's an element of regeneration here from whatever has been communicated, that rejection. This is a bit of a redeeming effect for you if you choose to take it and drop the burdens of the past. Otherwise, I feel like you might be faced with a similar consequence later that, again, you're just going to have a deeper reflective element on, right? As every time this sort of repeats, you get deeper and deeper until you break out of a certain cycle, right? That's how these energies work. So right now you do have a guiding light. You do have a lot of intuition. You can forgive and release the past, definitely forgiving yourself, because this is very self-reflective. And then move forward with a knowing that the universe has got your back. If they see you trying, they're going to help you. Okay, so this can turn out really good for you, and it could be a very fresh new start, depending on how you approach it. Thank you so much, Sag. This was great. I hope you have a great week, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.